It's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe.
Well, we've just heard the CBS News anchor Savannah Guthrie there saying she still has hope her mother will be found. I just want to get your initial reaction to that news.
Well, it's just a horrific thought of, okay, why would somebody kidnap an 84-year-old woman who has medical conditions other than her daughter is a well-known celebrity, if you will, who's worth a lot of money, and they see a profit motive there that they might be able to exploit by taking a vulnerable person.
And what was your initial hunch when she was first reported missing? Does this show any characteristics of any particular groups?
Well, not necessarily. Oftentimes, kidnappings are categorized in two broad categories. One is financial, as is most, but sometimes it's a political or ideological reason for the kidnapping. And this doesn't appear to be the latter at all. It seems to be financial. But the concerning thing is the kidnapper or kidnappers, if there was more than one, have never provided what's called the proof of life to show that, yes, Nancy Guthrie is alive and well, and that once a ransom would be paid, that she would be returned alive and well. Obviously, it needed some medical attention, presumably. But without that proof of life, the family would, I believe, never pay a ransom. You're not going to pay a ransom for something that you're not going to get in return. In this case, their mother's life. And so that's what's concerning about this. The longer it goes on, without a proof of life, maybe something terrible happened when the kidnapper was in the house, and unfortunately, she's no longer alive. But it just begs the question: why has a proof of life not been provided yet?
And we know police have found bits of DNA. They've also found a glove a few miles from the scene in Arizona. But do you think these findings have the potential to be breakthroughs?
Well, the FBI and the local sheriff's office, they're going to run down every lead. They received over 30,000 tips, if you will. So they do a triage of all those tips to assess which ones may be credible, which ones are just, frankly, wacky, just out there, non-credible. And so they do that triage. And the DNA, obviously, if it comes back on that glove found 2 miles from the house, matches DNA from anything in the house, that would be remarkable. I doubt that is the case because those gloves are fairly common. And the question is there DNA of the perpetrator in some type of database, the FBI's database called CODIS? If it has it in there, that's one thing. But if not, there's still ways of establishing a familial DNA link, and that just takes quite a bit more time if a perpetrator's DNA is not in the FBI's database.
And in terms of the FBI, how hands-on do you think they'll be in a case like this?
Well, it's because it's such a high-profile case. It's all hands on deck, as they say. It's everybody who's available, not only in the Phoenix office, which covers the state of Arizona, but from the FBI's divisions back in Washington, D.C. and at Quantico, where the FBI Academy and the lab is. The Critical Incident Response Group has deployed personnel. There's digital evidence experts who are there trying to review everything to see that there's no lead uncovered. So because of the high-profile nature of it, and just the effects that it has on so many people. Your 84-year-old mother's kidnapped. Come on, that just is heart-wrenching. Any kidnapping, of course, but in that situation, I think it just resonates with so many people that there's a lot of pressure on the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Office to solve this case as quickly as possible. And I just add, time is of the essence. Obviously, the kidnapper wants to get their money and get away, if you will. And obviously, the family wants to get their mother back, who's in need of medical attention. And we just don't know how she's doing. And the kidnapper, if he is employed someplace, he presumably hasn't shown up for work in the last 2 weeks now. And so it's what's out there. So it really comes down to two categories of evidence. the digital evidence, such as DNA and fingerprints and things like that, and then what I would call the testimonial evidence, which is somebody who knows something's going on and reports it, whether to claim the $100,000 reward or whatever. But I think the longer it goes, it more that it's leaning toward the testimonial side of things, because there's only so much digital evidence that can be exploited and reviewed.
And how common is this kind of case? Do you come across a lot of them?
Well, as a deputy director, and then for almost 6 years, and as the head of national security and head of counterterrorism, there were a number of kidnappings that I was aware of, oversaw our investigations and our response. Many of those were overseas, where the FBI works with the local governments, the state governments, clearly if it involves a U.S. citizen. The ones in the U.S. are often handled as a partnership, as this one is, between the local authorities, who are the first responders before the FBI is requested to come in or can be join the investigation in collaboration with the local authorities. So yeah, it's a situation where um, yeah, without that proof of life, it is a challenging time for everybody.
And you mentioned this is a really high profile case. So I wonder, does that bring any complexities with it?
Yeah, well, most kidnappings, the kidnappers will communicate directly with the family members from whom they want the ransom money. They don't send the ransom to media outlets and then set deadlines and they pass and they set a new ransom demand and increase the amount and a new deadline and that passes. It's atypical in that regard, but it's almost like that old adage from my time at TSA. If you've seen one airport, the Transportation Security Administration here in the U.S., if you've seen one airport, you've seen one airport. If you've seen one kidnapping, you've seen one kidnapping, because each is unique in their own way. And it really comes down to what is the motive of the kidnappers, what is the opportunity for them to recover or obtain the ransom cleanly, if you will, so they can actually get away and use it. And then what is the health of the person who's been kidnapped? Again, that proof of life is what's so critical at this point, going into the third week of the kidnapping.
And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of public engagement in this case, a lot of interest in it. But I just wonder how helpful the public really can be with things like tip-offs.
Yeah, they obviously have to separate the wheat from the chaff from all the people who want to be helpful or just want to be get their 15 minutes of fame or 5 seconds of fame or something online to say, yes, I provided a tip. What it comes down to is that triage of which are the most relevant and compelling leads that are generated. They've done the neighborhood survey, the query, if you will, to see it. Does anybody have any home cameras? Anything that could be shown to see a car that may have been in the neighborhood that evening? The car that was impounded and searched, was that because of license plate readers that showed it was in the area that evening? Or does somebody report a suspicious vehicle? So it's the fact that it's being played out in public is highly unusual, and you would think it would be productive because it would generate that one tip. That's all you need, the needle on the haystack, just one out of those 35,000 leads. If it is the tip, then that's what makes all the difference. So the FBI and the local authorities will pursue every lead, but in a triage form to say what is the most possible, what's most likely that will lead us to recovering Nancy Guthrie and arrest those who are responsible for her kidnapping.
Hmm. And just finally, how hopeful are you really that Nancy will be returned safely?
Well, similar to what Savannah said in her post this morning, I'm hopeful. It's never too late, and I believe in the goodness of people generally, and I believe that God can work in miraculous ways, and it may be that's what's needed at this point. That there is some type of miracle that she has returned home safely and healthy, and that they catch people. So I'm an optimist in life. So until proven otherwise, I still hold out hope, along with Savannah and her family, to say it's never too late.